What's up? I'm Hi Yella, and this is, I guess, like the daily wrap up. Or it's not a daily wrap up because I'm not doing it daily yet. So I guess like a weekly wrap up. I'm just gonna go over things that have happened during the day that I find interesting. Um, Work-related stuff, political stuff, um, all the stuff that annoys me at work, but I don't have time to get off my chest. TikToks that I see. Definitely will go over podcasts that I listen to at work. Probably most often you're going to hear Joe Rogan, Bill Burr's Monday morning podcast, The Fighter and the Kid, um, with Brian and oh god. Okay. Do I start over? Do I hit the button and start over because I'm forgetting names and all that kind of stuff? No. I just like to say fuck it. Fuck it. All the blemishes, all that stuff, whatever. Just pure, unadulterated, high yella, even with his lack of memory. But anyway, so I'm gonna say Brian Redband, but it's not Redband. Um, what is it? Fighter and the Kid. Brendan Schaub, Brendan Schaub, and I cannot believe I'm forgetting it. It's Brian, but I'm like, what is his last name? Why the fuck am I forgetting his last name? That sexy, silly goose, who's who's in a little bit of trouble right now because of cancel culture and all that bullshit. And I'm forgetting his fucking name. Fuck it, I'm just gonna have to fucking look it up on the goddamn compute. Watch, just as I put it in, it's gonna be like, ooh, that's porn. That's Fighter and Kid. Just write it today. Fighter and the Kid. Brian. Brian, if anyone ever listens to this, they'll be like, oh, motherfucker. Brian Callen. Holy shit. Yes. Fighter and Kid with Brian Callen. Don't worry, that's not the one I listen to the most, so it's okay. Remember the other names, Bill Burr and Joe Rogan. Oh, goodness. Topo Chico. I don't know if these are like better than like, well, I imagine they gotta be better than sodas. I mean, I imagine there's gotta be less sugar, if any, in these. But I love drinking these. It's like these have allowed me to stop drinking Sprites, and I mean, well, I was cutting down anyway, but I can drink these bad boys right here. It tastes kind of almost like a Sprite, not as sweet, but it's got that Spritey taste to it. Yeah, I like the Topo Chico with a twist of lime. A little bit of you can't even read that. So Woodford Reserve, just a little after work something. Because I have been off work for I don't know about half an hour. Took a shower and all that. And now I'm here to talk to you. Excuse me. So anyway, what are we going to talk about? I got my little notes here, my little notebook. It's so organized. No, it's not. I'm talking shit. It's like chicken scratch. Is what it is. Bunch of chicken scratch. Anyway, well, one thing I did want to talk about is this like state of comfortable slavery that we live in, where for the most part people don't want to or just don't think about it as slavery, because shit, I mean, I'm living in an apartment with these technological devices, fucking got the MacBook right there, talking into an iPhone. I look over there, I got this nice microphone that still is not hooked up because I don't have all the stuff for it, but I need to include that into my repertoire of equipment. I don't even know if that makes sense, but anyway, people don't think of themselves as being poor because we have all this stuff. We got this goddamn microwave right there, an oven, a dishwasher and dryer, and a clothes washer, and all these. I got a TV in here. I got a TV in the other room. It's like, what are you talking about? You're not a fucking slave. And I think it's because our definition of a slave is based off of what we have studied in the past and heard from in the past, and we, it's like, well, if you're not getting a whip cracked, if you're not, living under the stress and strain of the master, or what our vision of that is, as far as like living in a little hovel with none of the niceties of life, and that would make it slavery. But you take away away a lot of the extreme stuff that we associate with slavery. I guess what I'm trying to say is that nice things, it's nice, it's good to have nice things, and it's good to have little trinkets and stuff like that, but our most valuable thing is time, and the time to have experiences with friends and family and all that kind of stuff. And man, all of us running this rat race where it's like there's 24 hours in a day, and 8 hours of it is spent in rest, whether it be just sleep, or whether it be downtime, or whatever, little cat naps that you take. Because people who say that I only get 3 hours of sleep, man, what the fucking ever. There's very few people that get 3 or 4 hours of sleep and are just doing okay and doing fine. No, you need more than that. But anyways, like there's 24 hours a day. 8 hours or 8 to 10 hours of that is rest. And then there's work, and for me that's 10 Monday through Thursday, 8 on Friday, 8 on Saturday. Doesn't leave a whole lot of time to do the things that you want to do, because even in that time that's left over from the if you take away sleep and work, there's the things that you have to do, as far as like you gotta take time to keep up with the fucking bills. And speaking of which, I gotta fucking pay rent today. You gotta keep up with the bills, and then the taxes, and the fucking the inspection for the car, and all these little fucking hoops and shit that you have to jump through to keep yourself out of fucking jail. And that's the fun of the big things. It's like we have all these things that we do because we want to stay out of jail. It's the two fears. It's like we fear being locked in a cage, and we fear living out on the streets and not having food, and also just creature comforts and all that kind of shit. All this stuff that we do is just just to keep us in. Just to keep us in a state of, what we view as comfort. But, my view is that we're fucking slaves. We're all fucking slaves because most of us are not doing what we want to do. I know that I'm not doing what I want to do. I don't get up in the morning excited to go to work. I know I have in the past been excited about things that I was doing, but those things were not bringing me money at the time, or they were bringing me money, but that's a whole other story we can get into some other time. But I just think about all the stuff that we're losing. That's just the guarantee. It's the guarantee that there's a lot of life that you're not going to experience because you're spending all your time, working for the man. And what brings this up, or what has me thinking about this, is two things that happened over the last week at my job. The first one I can be pretty straight up about. This guy at my job got a fucking vasectomy and was at work the next day. Now, I can respect the, it's weird. It's like on one hand, I can respect that, I'm still going to come in. I guess that I respect, I can respect dedication, and I can respect the, dependability. I guess I can respect dependability. But on the other hand, it's like, he shouldn't feel like he has to do that. The idea, and he was on light duty, and I saw him walking down the hall, picking up material and throwing stuff away, because he was on light duty. And, he was fucking walking like this. It was obvious that he was not comfortable. He was fucking walking around the job, picking up trash and cleaning up after me. I'm up there making up light fixtures and stuff like that, and he's picking up our scraps and all that kind of stuff, just kind of walking the floors and stuff like that. And I just saw him, I was just like, what kind of fucking world do we live in? Because the fact of the matter is, if he had I guarantee you, if he had a bunch of money saved up, and or if he had a job that had all kinds of paid vacation and paid time off and paid time off for sick sick leave and all that kind of stuff, and again, we have that stuff. Well, to a degree, we have that stuff. It's really not that impressive, to be perfectly honest with you. But I just watched him. I was like, I know he doesn't want to be here. I know he doesn't want to be here. He's uncomfortable. That's not the way you walk when you're comfortable. This is not how you fucking walk when you're comfortable. And that's how he's fucking walking. And I was like, that guy does not want to be here. And I'm not sure about his situation, but if he's got kids, if he's got some people that he's got to take care of, if shit, even if he's just a fucking apprentice on his fucking own, just keeping up with the basic bills as far as like rent and electrical, water, your TV, all that shit. What do you call it? Apprentices don't make a whole lot. So I can see how I might be like, shit, I've got this car payment, I've got this stuff, I just have to fucking go into work. As opposed to, shit, dude, the guy just had a motherfucker hacking on his balls the day before. Let's give him a couple days off. And I'm not just talking about, those with ball issues. I'm talking to anybody that's sick. There's lots of people that, I've gone to work sick. It's like, okay, I don't feel good. I feel run down, but I'm that kind of employee. I show up all the time. I show up early, and I don't want to catch any shit. And that's what it comes down to. I just don't want to catch any shit. I don't want the fucking argument. I don't want somebody trying to tell me that I'm not showing enough loyalty to the job because they're so loyal to me. That's another one. I love that when they try to give you that, well, look what we did for you. Like this fucking vacation, we got Saturday off for Labor Day. Yeah, for Labor Day, so we're gonna get a 3-day weekend. And the boss came to us like, look what I did for you. It's like, really? I'm not impressed. When other countries are getting like a month of fucking paid vacation on top of fucking paid time off and fucking sick leave and all this other shit, I'm not impressed that you're going to allow us to get a 3-day weekend. I know it's not him, and maybe he did fight, and that in itself is sad. But he had to fucking to have a deep conversation with the bosses. Oh, come on, look, if you look at how much work we've gotten done and blah blah blah, we can afford this, and it would help out with employee morale. That fucking bullshit. So that was one. I was like, I cannot believe that this guy is at work. One time I know a guy was at work and he had a fucking what do you call it? What is that called? Fucking oh fuck, what is that called? I want to say aneurysm, but I know aneurysm is like a stroke or something in your brain. It's not an aneurysm. It's gonna kill me. I'm gonna remember later. But anyway, it's when you have that situation with your tooth where it's all infected and everything. And there was a guy that had that. And he was walking around the job just holding his fucking mouth like this, and just had that look of just pain. Just walking around, fucking doing his stuff. He wasn't being like super obvious, but he was almost kind of trying to hide it. And I was like, dude, what the fuck is up? And he's like, oh, I got a little bit of I got a tooth pain. I'm going in later on, and what the fuck is? I can't remember what it was that he said, or what it's called. Oh, that's gonna kill me. It's gonna kill me. I'll be like, oh, you need to go back and edit the video. It's not a cyst. It's not an aneurysm. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point is the guy had a serious fucking tooth pain. It's like a serious fucking issue. And he was just like, I'm just going to make it through the day, blah, blah. I was like, fuck that shit, dude. You need to go to the fucking boss and tell him that you're going to fucking go home and go get this dental thing taken care of. You ain't going to fucking sit up here and be miserable, and it's dangerous. I can't. What the fuck is that called? It's the thing that you end up getting a root canal for. Anyway, not important. Here was another one. Here was another thing that happened. There's a guy, and this one I have to be kind of careful about names and locations and shit. Because people are assholes, and I'll say this, and they'll be like, that is an outrage. That is an abuse of children. It's like, god damn, dude, people are put into fucking awful positions where they got to do shit that's kind of fucked up. Anyway, this guy's got got 2 kids, and there is a 1-hour gap from the time that he leaves the house and when his wife comes home from work. This is a recent thing because his wife is getting into nursing and stuff like that. But he had a situation the other day where he was about to leave and he heard some noise. He went up there and he saw that his kid had fallen out of the bed and had bumped their chin. And he was having to deal with that situation. He's like, he has to work. His wife has to work. They have to work, and they don't have the money for the to have someone come and watch their kids, and so they're just kind of chancing it that 1 hour, they should be asleep. It's early in the morning. He's leaving real early, and he has to be at work at 6, and his wife gets home at 8. Kids usually don't wake up until like 9:30 or so. So it's like, he's taking a little bit of a chance there. And I know he's not the only one, but there's all these people out there taking these fucked up chances that they don't want to take because it's all about the goddamn bills. And speaking of the bills, man, they are starting to evict people. This is, okay, let me just say, it is what? September 2nd? Fucking phone's right there, so that's why I don't have quick access to my calendar. But I believe it's September 2nd. Yeah, September 2nd, because tomorrow will be when rent is fucking due. I'll pay it today, but yeah. So anyway, it's September 2nd, and fucking the eviction process has begun. I was fucking watching stuff on the news. It has begun. And I wonder what is going to happen here in the future or over the next couple of months, because this is not going to be good. There's a lot of these renters, a lot of these apartment complexes and homeowners and stuff like that are going to start evicting people, and people are going to be out on the fucking streets. And people are broke. It's going to be a bad situation. Just like in 2008, when no one's really fucking paying attention as the gas prices are getting higher and fucking truckers are fucking no longer driving their trucks because they can't fucking make any money, and then all of a sudden the fucking shit gets fucking expensive. Then the adjustable rate mortgage fucking changes, and people's rents go from fucking $1,000 a month to fucking $1,800 a month, and all this shit. It's the same kind of shit, man. It's just it's a slow burn, and right now it's really starting to get bad. Once they start kicking people out of their homes, and people who hadn't done shit. You're working hard, you're doing your thing, you're being responsible, and one day, because of a fucking pandemic, you can't go to work. Now you don't have money, so that means that you can't pay your bills, and the bill collector's like, oh, we don't give a fuck. Because that's capitalism, or not capitalism, that's American capitalism. I don't want to fucking, talk shit, because I appreciate capitalism. I would love to have my own business and all that kind of stuff. I'm not opposed to capitalism. I'm opposed to this bullshit that we have in this country where we don't give a fuck about people, and it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. If you can't pay your bills, too goddamn bad. And fucking the distance, the time that it takes to go from not having money to pay your bills and getting kicked out of your house to the point where you're in jail, boy, that time shortens right the fuck up, because there's a whole lot of it's funny is people are like, where do all these fucking homeless people come from? Like in Austin and stuff, like, where do all these fucking homeless people come from? I'm pretty sure it's the same thing in LA. So where the fuck do all these homeless people come from? Motherfucker, where they're coming from is the prices of housing is going up. So people who had houses fucking get kicked out of their fucking houses. Now they have to find a place to rent, and it's all too expensive. They can't find they can't find an apartment. They can't find a house to live in, and next thing you know, you're fucking homeless. You're out on the fucking streets, fucking begging and scratching and scrimping and fucking hustling. Here pretty soon, everyone's gonna be hustling. Trying to fucking make that little extra bit. Meanwhile, the same people that have been fucking us over and over and over and over and over and over again are just fucking sitting up there collecting their fucking dividends because they make money no matter what. It's funny. You got these fucking people. You got the people at the bottom fighting each other. Meanwhile, the people that fuck us are up there still getting rich. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about as far as like work stuff. It just irritates me. It irritates me to see that all these people that are fucking working themselves to the bone, and it's just person after person after person that on their deathbed they're gonna be like, damn, how much of this life I fucking missed out on. That's the thing that constantly is getting on me. It's the thing I constantly think about, and this isn't new. This is something I've thought about over my lifetime. About what I'm missing out. And I think a lot of it has to do with being adopted and kind of coming from a fucked up situation as a child. And I think about all the stuff that I missed out on, and the opportunities that I missed out on, and how much of life that I did get. I did get to experience a lot of life. I can't really talk a lot of shit. I did do a lot of traveling at an early age and stuff like that. But I did also miss out on a lot. But so yeah, I get it. It hurts me to see all these people that, you know, the ones that recognize that they think their situation should be better. It's bullshit. They fucking work their asses off and they're just not getting the returns that they deserve. And then there's the other people who are just, they're fucking stuck. They're stuck in the cog. They are in the fucking system and they have bought that shit hook, line, and sinker. And they're just like, if you don't want to work fucking 56 hours a week, then you're just a lazy fuck. That's the crazy thing. It's like, you're a lazy fuck if all you want to do is work 40 hours a week. If all you want, if I were to say I will only work 40 hours a week, people will look at me like, all the rest of us are working 56. What are you, special? Because the fact of the matter is, there's such thing as overtime is mandatory. Don't get it twisted. Overtime is fucking mandatory. You have to fucking work overtime. This is the way it is. Because when it gets time for layoffs, especially if you're working especially if you live in Texas, where it's a right to work state, which means it's a right to get fired state. You don't have to have an excuse to fire motherfuckers, which is what right to work means. Is they don't need to have an excuse to fire you. Just times are tough, motherfucker. So get going. And that's what happens to people that won't work more than 40 hours a week. So I do it. I don't need it, but I do it. I could live fine off of my paycheck with 40 hours a week. But I'm working 56. Working 56. So anyway, Bill Burr. Listen to Bill Burr's comment. The one thing that stuck out in Bill Burr's podcast this last week, and don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about the Thursday, I'm talking about the Monday morning, because it's Thursday today. But the Monday morning podcast, the thing that stuck out to me is the thing that I love about, not just Bill Burr, but I love about Bill Burr, and I love about a lot of comedians, and I think it's part of being a comedian, because to suss out the humor requires you to dig deep and to think about things from lots and lots of different angles. And the thing that I love about Bill Burr is that he is willing to recognize that, you know what, I don't know the whole story, so I'm going to say, based off of the information that you've provided, this is how I feel. And I love that. I love that someone who is willing to be like, this is all I know. Maybe more information will change my mind, but this is what I know. And also I love the way he, and I think a lot of comedians that I listen to and I'm interested in, have this ability to trying to say? I've kind of lost track of what I was thinking. Maybe this will help out. They have this ability to see things from different angles and to not become completely invested in what their opinion is, and to be willing to change it or to based on more information. And what I'm talking about is that one of the things that Bill Burr talked about was this Rittenhouse kid, the 17-year-old kid who shot some protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin. The cat's name is Rittenhouse, and this guy was telling hey, this is what he had done, and he was really kind of coming from the guy who wrote the letter to Bill Burr was kind of coming from the angle that Rittenhouse was defending himself. And I loved how he didn't have all the information, so he was leaving room to be like, I don't have all the information, I have not fucking looked at these videos like you have and stuff like that. And you could tell from the way the guy wrote that he had seen the videos. Now, I would also saw the videos, and I would argue that the guy was misrepresenting what the fuck was on those videos. And personally, I think the guy was full of shit after listening to the letter. But based off of the information that Bill Burr was getting, and he hadn't seen all the videos and stuff like that, he was willing to say that. But he picked out the important part, the part that jumped out at me when fucking I was listening to TikTok and people were fucking talking about how Rittenhouse was defending himself. He was defending himself, and Bill Burr brought up this main question: why the fuck was he there? This 17-year-old child. Because anyone who is in their 30s recognizes that a fucking 17-year-old is a fucking child. That is a youngster that is apt to make dumbass decisions. I know when I was 17 years old, I was making lots of dumbass decisions. Dumbass decisions that were gonna fucking getting my ass, get in trouble. Locked up and all that bullshit. But I liked how Bill Burr would just was not getting fooled by all this. The writer, the person who wrote the letter, and he wasn't getting caught up. Bill Burr wasn't getting caught up in all this. In the video, you can see that this thing and that thing and all that, and the fucking he threw us a Molotov cocktail or whatever, all this shit that he was fucking saying. He just kept on. He just recognized that main point, which is why the fuck was he there? Why was this kid there? And then if you find out more about the story, you're like, his mother drove him, and his mother drove him home. What kind of conversation was that like? What was that conversation like? Mom's driving little Rittenhouse Jr. Home. Tell me about your guarding experience. Guarding those businesses from the evil protesters. Oh, I had to shoot a guy, Mom. Think that came up? Do you think or did he keep it quiet? Did he just be like, I don't know, it was fun. The people were really nice, Ma. Just surprise her in the morning when the fucking knock at the door. Goddamn. I guess before I can knock on stuff and carry on, I need to get a better stand. Because I don't have a very good stand, apparently. It's very, very loose. Anyway, so really enjoyed Bill Burr's podcast. That's the one thing that stuck out. Was there anything else? What was Bu- 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 Oh, he talked about he talked about covering up the school books, and that jumped out at me because I remember that. Apparently, he was not very good at back in the day. Back in the day, they'd give you school books and you had to cover them. And Bill Burr's a little bit older than me. I think he's got me by about 6 or 8 years. I'm not sure. He's in his 50s, but um, when he was a kid, I'm pretty sure that it was all about the paper bags. It was you covered your school books in paper bags and you folded them, and it stuck to me because I remember that. And it's funny when he talks about it. He talks about how like the girls, their books were all perfect, and folded properly and all that kind of stuff, and his was half-assed. And he talked about there was being this dickhead teacher that if he ever saw like any rips or anything in your paper, he'd rip it off and make you, and you'd have to put a new cover on it and stuff like that. So apparently everybody was rocking paper bags to cover their books, but those that had skill could make those motherfuckers look mwah. Now, in my day, there was the people that did cover their school books in paper, and of course the same thing. There was the people that had the mwah, and then there was the people who just kind of slapped somebody together. But there was another group of people, and that was the people that could afford book covers, fancy book covers. It wasn't just paper. Now, some of them you still had to fold, but then there was some people there was ones that were already pretty much designed so you could just fold them, and it was just perfect books and stuff like this. So it was all these people that were walking around with, Batman and Robin book covers and Spider-Man and all the cool stuff. I was one of the kids. My mom could fold the hell out of a book. Now, of course, she wanted me to do it, and she would start them, or be like, okay, I'm gonna show you how to do it, and then you have to do all the rest or whatever like that. So I'd have to do them, but I learned it. I learned the techniques, and I don't think I could do it now though. I think if I like had to try, I don't know if I could. But anyway, I do remember that, and I remember being very angry that I couldn't have one of the cool book covers that was awesome and would make me stick out as a comic book fan or some shit like that. And let's see what else. Getting back. Yeah, it's a little bit. Bill Burr was talking about getting back to comedy and how excited he is, and apparently they're doing these wild shows. You got what's his name? You got Bert Kreischer out there doing shows at drive-in movie theaters, and Bill Burr was apparently doing a show at some farm, and where there's social distancing and stuff like that. But he's excited to get back out there and do his trade. And I imagine that's a fun way to make money. It's a fun way to make money. And just to surround yourself with people where you get to shoot the shit for fun, and that's part of your work. That's part of your research, is to fucking hang out and shoot the shit. I love these guys. I love fucking comedy. It made a huge impact on my life. It was weird. It was like I knew there was a time in my life where I was very sad, and I knew that I needed to bring happiness into my life. And I started fucking watching comedy and watching Comedy Central, and then I'd fucking when I started looking up shit on YouTube and everything like that, I started taking comedy like it was a pill, like it was medicine. I'd come home and I'd turn on Comedy Central because I need to laugh. I need to fucking put South Park on and just binge watch South Park episodes and all that kind of stuff. Now, the other podcast that I listened to was the first episode on Spotify of the Joe Rogan Experience with motherfucking Duncan Trussell. Woo! It was a good one. Holy shit. Let me tell you, it was a good podcast. Them fools were on fire for 5 hours. It actually was more than 5 hours. I think it was 5 hours and 20 something fucking minutes. It was everything. I can't even go into all of it, but it was everything. It was all the emotions. There was crying. There was like legit, like not like crying, but you could tell there was some serious emotion in Joe Rogan's voice, and there was a couple times I have not actually watched the episode with Duncan Trussell on YouTube. I've just listened to it at work because sometimes I do both. Sometimes I do both. I will listen to the podcast at work, and then like on the weekend or something like that, or if I got some time or whatever, I would more often than not I'm watching bits and pieces of it as opposed to like watching the whole thing. But yeah, there was a couple times where it was like, oh my god, like when Joe Rogan was he talks about Mitzi Shore and her impact on him and her impact on comedy, and ooh, you could tell he was feeling really emotional, and it was definitely there was a couple moments where it was like, oh my god, I think Joe Rogan's he's about to start crying. And there was a couple times where he just talked about his friendship with Duncan, and it sounded like he was really getting kind of misty-eyed about it. And it's funny, like towards the end of the podcast, Joe Rogan both of them are drunk, but Joe is like doing everything to like he's trying to convince Duncan Trussell to come to Austin and to do a podcast with him, and he's like doing everything to tap into what is the essence of Duncan Trussell. It's like Duncan is about connections and making change on a metaphysical level and all that kind of stuff, and it was funny to listen to. Just Joe Rogan, just like kind of like, I'll buy you a house. You need to stay here, and just offering to buy him a house and offering to not offering, just making the points about how important their friendship is, and how much it would mean to him, and how awesome he think it was. It was funny. It was almost like listening to a kid trying to figure out a way to convince his mom to do something that his mom didn't really want to do. It was really funny. Joe Rogan also talked about the political situation when it comes to Black Lives Matter and what's going on in LA as far as like the all the rules created around coronavirus, and the protests and the defund the police and all that kind of stuff. Which, by the way, I have a bit of a disagreement with Joe Rogan about this defund the police thing. And it's like he keeps approaching it like it means get rid of the police, and I'm a supporter of the idea of defund the police. And I definitely don't think that that we should get rid of the police. I think that the police are fucking important. The idea behind the police, I support that. Some of the people that we have doing the job, though, right now, I'm not happy about that. And I would think that someone like Joe Rogan, who recognizes the fallacy of the war on drugs, would recognize that we need to defund the police. They need to not be doing that job. You know, the job of policing what people put into their bodies and all these different stupid reasons that we put people in cages. You know, we need to fucking put people in cages for fucking rape, theft, and murder. You know, or let me put that in the correct order. You know, for the cancel culture world. You know, theft, rape, and murder, or murder, rape, or you know what I'm trying to say. Over some serious shit. Not because of fucking traffic tickets. We don't need to have fucking people in jail, you know, over fucking traffic tickets. We don't need to have people in jail because they got a heroin problem or because they have a fucking crack problem or whatever the drug may be. And that's what I'm talking about when I say defund the police. Is there's too much shit that they're fucking doing. They don't need that money. And if the money that they do have needs to not be spent on all these, you know, militarized weapons that they have. These people need to get training. You know, I agree. Every cop, to be a police officer, I think that you should be a purple belt or whatever. You need to be confident enough that you can handle yourself in a physical altercation most of the times. And you know what? I'm not worried about that because I don't get physical with the police. I've never been in a situation with the police where I got physical. Now, they've gotten physical with me, you know, but I didn't fight back. You know? I'm not fucking stupid. I recognize that this person, you know, has a swarm of people backing him up. And by me acting violent just brings more of them and in a more aggressive way. So I've never acted violently or in an aggressive way in a physical aggressive way. There's been a couple times I fucking felt like I needed to read them the riot act on some shit. But as far as like fighting with them and shit, matter of fact, I'd say that probably the most of the times that I've had handcuffs on, I gave my hands over. You know what I'm saying? I ain't fighting you, you know? But I have had my fucking head smushed into a fucking cop car. And I have also had a police officer hold my arms up behind my head very high in an unnecessary way. You know, if a person just throws their arms back there for you to handcuff them, there's no reason for you to pull those fucking arms up really high unless, of course, you're trying to hurt them, in which case that's a constitutional violation. You know, he is now inflicting punishment. That's what I don't understand about the, you know, it's like, you know, when you are punishing me, then that's you have dealt out a punishment. By holding up my arms and hurting me, you are now punishing me. But I'm supposed to go through a trial first before I get punished. You know? Now, of course, if I'm fighting the cop and shit like that and they pull my arm up, you know, that kind of goes with the territory, you know? It kind of makes sense, you know? If you cop trying to put the fucking handcuffs on you and you're fucking moving around and fighting, then yeah, you might get, you know, it might end up getting a little handsy. But when someone hands you their hands behind the back and you're just like, eh, that's just unnecessary. And that's, you know, I think it's a common treatment. But anyway, that's one of those deals I kind of disagree with Joe Rogan about. When it comes to the police. Is like, I get it, you know, we agree both, it's a hard job, it's a ridiculously hard job that most people shouldn't have. I agree with them on that, but I'm just not willing to give them as much leeway as he's willing to give, because I just think that I've just, between my own personal experiences and the experiences I've heard from other people, and also just the stuff that I've read about and I've seen, these people I think are out of control. I think that they're completely fucking out of control. What are some other things? Just to say, I was listening to Joe Rogan podcast. He had Duncan Trussell on. It was a fucking 5-hour fucking podcast. It was amazing. It didn't seem like it was 5 hours. Duncan Trussell is a good friend of Joe Rogan. They've been friends for years. He is the creator of Midnight Gospel. It's funny. A friend of mine was like, "Have you heard about this show called Midnight Gospel?" Blah 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 blah. It's really cool. Blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh, really? Okay." So I go check it out, and I fucking push it. I put it on play, and as soon as I start hearing it, I'm like, "That's." And I fucking was like, I know that voice. Yeah, it's fucking Duncan Trussell from the fucking Duncan Trussell Family Hour podcast. Duncan Trussell, I love this guy. He just like seems like a complete sweetheart. He just seems like a really good dude who's on the path. He's just traveling the path of life and trying to be the best person that he can be for himself and for his family and for society in general. And I mean, what more could you fucking ask for? I mean, the guy's a fucking angel. You know, I really fucking love listening to him. I love listening to his take on life. I feel like a lot of times like I need a fucking dictionary when he not just a dictionary. I need a dictionary and a spiritualist a guide. You know, a guide magazine for, you know, the topics that he brings up. But let's see, what's some other things they talked about? Having friends with different political views. I think that's important. You know, they talked about that. And when that came up, they came up with the issue of Ben Shapiro because Duncan Trussell was like, apparently not a huge fan of Ben Shapiro, but understood why Joe Rogan was not, or came to understand why Joe Rogan considered him a friend, and even though Duncan probably felt like Ben Shapiro didn't deserve the platform that Joe Rogan was providing him. Sorry, I'm making a mess over here. Clean that shit up. So yeah, Duncan probably didn't appreciate or didn't like the platform that Ben Shapiro's getting, and I see where he's coming from. I think Ben Shapiro is kind of a bit of a, I don't know. There's things that he says, and I'm just like, come on, dude, you can't be that smart and not recognize the tremendous effect of slavery, you know, on Black America, and that something has to be done about it. You can't fucking be that smart and recognize that the working class in this country is not getting a fucking fair shake. And Ben Shapiro just has this, you know, this holier than thou attitude, and talks about all these issues as if, you know, you just need to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, and life should just provide for those that work hard, and blah 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 and all that bullshit. And he's just completely ignoring the realities of fucking life, which is, you know, really convenient for him, but not so convenient for those of us that fucking work ourselves to the bone. And let's see. He talked about some other stuff that I was kind of surprised about, like how forcefully they went into it. But I think this also has to do with Duncan Trussell, because, you know, Duncan is all about, like, and you understand what I'm saying. He went after the fact that this country was built on human trafficking. You know, he's talking about how human trafficking is a major issue as far as right now in America. You hear about the sex trafficking and all that kind of stuff. And he just wanted to make the point that, you know, it's nothing new. This country was built on trafficking of human beings, and it hasn't fucking stopped. And I really appreciate how deeply they delved into the issue of our founding fathers, and how they are not these glorious people that we need to be holding up, with such a high esteem. You know, it's probably, within the 60 to 80% percentile percent that George Washington had the teeth of slaves in his mouth, and probably those people were not reimbursed for those fucking teeth, and probably were held down and had those teeth taken from them. They really fucking dove deep as far as, these founding fathers are really not all that they're cracked up to be, and some of these fucking, probably most of these statues need to come down and be, maybe put in museums. But the fact of the matter is that we don't need to be holding these motherfuckers in this aura of in this arena of respect that we hold them in. They're just they're regular fucking people that, were looking out for themselves, and this part's me, looking out for themselves, and just people just fucking trying to make it. They're not these glorious fucking, seers of time and space and stuff. They just that need to be held up with august respect. No, they're just fucking people that had absolutely no problem with owning other people and having their teeth taken out and buy them. Maybe he just bought them from a dentist. I don't know. I haven't researched the issue, but you got fucking teeth from fucking slaves in your mouth. And it's very similar to the whole, there is no such thing as consensual sex between a jailer and a prisoner. That's not the way it is. One person is fucking captive and one person is not. It's not a fair exchange of power. So, it was a great podcast. You got to check it out. I mean, they talk about fucking Christina Pazitsky and YMH and her awesome TikTok algorithm. Duncan Trussell wouldn't mind being a president under the right circumstances and technological advances. Joe Rogan might take a fat dick, he said he would. It was a great fucking show. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. I hope everybody is enjoying their time right now, wherever you may see this, whether it's much further in the future or just a week from now. I hope you are enjoying your day, and I hope that right now shit is fucking crazy. Shit is fucking crazy between the economic and fucking COVID-19 situation and the god-awful fucking police brutality bullshit and the fucking white supremacists coming out of the fucking woodwork and all this shit. I hope that life finds you in a comfortable place, and that in a few years, we can be working on solutions to some of these problems. That's what my hope is. And thank you for spending this hour with me on this wrap-up of my day, or actually a wrap-up of my week. I appreciate you, and you have a great life.